Hi, this is Kelsey, your instructor for UNIV 1113, bringing you a video on how to do peer reviews. So this is going to be probably a multi-part video thanks to the tool that I'm using to make the videos, limiting me to 10 minutes, but I'll let you know at the end if that ends up happening. So the first thing you need to start out with is the idea of revision versus editing. Those of you coming from high school are going to be really used to editing. Okay, and I'm bringing out the red here because that's what your teachers probably use to edit your paper. And editing is like copy editing. It's changing your spelling, deleting words, quick fixes. Okay, revision is literally a revision of your work. It can be restructuring, reorganizing, rewriting, adding whole new sections. Revision is not just about helping the reader understand your work through the little things, through fixing typos and grammar. It's about re-seeing the goal for the work and doing what's necessary to fix the paper as a whole. Kind of afraid that was going to happen. All right. So we're going to start by walking through some examples of both good and bad peer review, and then we're going to break it down by how I would classify different things you can do during peer review. So this is the example. It's from an assignment that I have given out to intro students. I asked them to write a bill that if it were introduced on campus would improve the environmental efficiency of our university. So this is an example of just a fake student, what somebody may have written. I've noticed that in my professors' offices during office hours that they don't have recycling bins, only trash cans. Professors probably use a lot of paper, so it would be nice if they had recycling bins in their offices. My bill proposes that each professor be given their own bin. Student volunteers could empty them at the end of the week and take the recycling to a recycling center. So here's what I would consider a bad peer review, but unfortunately it's, I think, a typical peer review that somebody might do who doesn't really know a lot about peer review and isn't trying to help someone toward revision. It's just editing. I've noticed that in my professors' offices during office hours that they don't have recycling bins, only trash cans. So they point to this and just say awkward, and they fix a couple, not annotation errors, but just like commas and apostrophes and stuff. They just write awkward. I agree with them. Like, this sentence is awkward, but that's not going to help someone during revision. They don't know what they're supposed to do with it, or maybe they don't even recognize what's awkward about it. They wrote the sentence and they might feel some ownership over it. They've also got some brackets over here. This sentence is vague. Professors probably use a lot of paper, so it would be nice if they had recycling bins in their offices. I agree that it's vague. Probably is vague. A lot is vague. Nice is vague. It's vague. But the writer may not be able to pick those out. Given their own bin, so they crossed it out and write his or her. Maybe not. Maybe professors, their pronoun of choice is there. And then overall, pretty good with a heart. And this is actually, I think, the scariest part about peer review is that people don't want to be mean to each other. And I'm not encouraging you to be mean. I'm not. But we have this like drive that somewhere there needs to be something that says, overall, nice job. Overall, pretty good. And if the work doesn't reflect that, then don't write it. Just write a few sincere good things that they do well. Here, if I were going to write something good, I would have written that this is actually a really good idea. I think that this would be a practical idea. It would be easy to accomplish. So I would compliment them on their idea. not overall pretty good. This is a good version of peer review for the same paragraph. So here they say you start by explaining your problem, but you should clarify why it's a problem. For example, give statistics about how trash hurts the environment in our area. They still fix the same commas and apostrophes. Now, in this sentence, they underline a lot. They underline nice. And they say the words I underlined here make the bill feel informal. So they're paying attention to audience. You could ask professors how much paper they use or Google it so you can avoid using a lot. And also, what do you mean by nice? Better for the environment? So these two comments do something I really like, which is one, they give examples of what they mean and how you could fix it, which encourages revision. And two, they ask questions. Questions are a great way to encourage revision because they help the person who wrote the work see where a reader might be. What is the reader thinking? What questions are they asking themselves when they read? So is nice better for the environment? That's a question a reader might be asking themselves. My bill proposes that each professor be given their own bin. So the professor gets a bin. Are they given some kind of information on what can go in it? Just paper or cans too? Again, good use of questioning. Student volunteers could empty them at the end of the week and take the recycling to a recycling center. Where do the volunteers come from? So, which recycling center, on or off campus? Now, what I hope you see here is that if this person who wrote this paragraph went back and answered these questions, they would be revising their work. They'd be adding detail. They might even have to add new sections. So the questions are encouraging revision. They're not rewriting the paper for the person. Now, they're still going to do the overall thing, so let's take a look at what they write. Overall, I like how your bill is organized into a problem, solution part 1, then solution part 2. But I feel like you're missing details that would help me understand specifically how the recycling could be collected and why there's a problem. So they're starting with something positive that's a real positive point. That this seems to have a real foundation in a true problem. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So it's not that they're trashing the paper. It's not that they're being mean. They're starting with something positive, and then they're rolling into what needs to be done. So professors may give you a peer review form to help you with this. And in class, I am going to give you a peer review form. These boxes and fonts are kind of sized by how I'll weight the peer review forms. So I focus a lot on content, like 50% or so on content. And then I'll ask maybe 20% each questions on grammar and style and citations, and then a little bit on organization. Now, organization is different than structure. To me, the structure of a paper kind of goes in content and grammar and style and organization, but this organization is something different. We'll look at the breakdown here in a minute. So starting out with organization and citation, do the sections of the paper, these are the questions, by the way, that I'm going to put on peer review forms and that you might see on peer review forms. Do the sections of the paper, so introduction, conclusion, etc., accomplish their purpose? How or how not? So we talked about how each part of a paper, actually, each section has goals. So the introduction might be to give background information and set the problem up. So you would be asking yourself, okay, I just read their introduction. Did it do that? How or how not? Did the writer use headings to clarify sections in the text? Explain. So if they need headings to break down and give themselves some organization, did they use it? Is the material ordered in a way that was logical, clear, and easy to follow? Are figures included where they support the reader's understanding and explain? This is a really important one, and it's not usually given a lot of attention. If you're reading a paper, if this has ever happened to you, you're reading the paper and you just think, gosh, if I could see a picture of this, it would really help me understand what they want me to see. You know, you write a description for an area that you're studying, Um,